This is going to be a lively night. Any Gaelic speakers out there? Feskarma. I guess nobody responded. Is Falcha Gu? I'm Furin. Okay. Good evening, and welcome to the Well. This is a well of fine Scottish music tonight. We're going to have a celebration of Scottish music. This is part of what's known as Celtic Fusion 2014, which most of you know about, and Fusion Magazine, which I'm going to talk a little bit about more online. And this is a Scottish feature this year that's both in the journal that's online and also in tonight's music. So we're going to celebrate Scottish music. It's great music, and if you want to learn more about Fusion Magazine, you want to go to fusionmagazine.org. It's very easy to remember, fusionmagazine.org. I suggest you go there, especially if you're musicians or composers, artists of any sort, because it will fill up your spirit to go out there and read the poetry and look at the photography and listen to the fine words. It's a global magazine of global art and music and words, and it's a great place to visit. So in keeping with this year's theme, the editor-in-chief and professor of liberal arts, Joe Corniti, and the crew have produced this concert tonight. Is Joe out there? I know you can't see him, but he's sitting way in the back. Joe? Most of you who know Joe know that he's also a bassist, a very fine bassist. So that's how the music comes into this. So we're going to hear some fine music. Now, a long time ago when I was a kid, I heard in the Scots traditional music, I heard bluegrass and country. And I heard James Taylor and Sarah McLachlan later on. And it was all in there. Things kept happening. I'd say, oh, I know that too. Oh, I know that tune too. Oh, that one, oh, James Taylor did that one. The drone of Scottish music got to me even when I was a little kid mowing my father's and mother's lawn and had the lawnmower going, and I did all those lawnmower reels and everything in my head and sang them out loud, and even the vacuum cleaner, anything like that. Okay?
Did you tune the lawnmower?
Yes, you can tune a lawnmower too. And so I went on later on, much later in life, after I went through my jazz time and pop time and classical time, and started to really get into my roots, as it were. And I went to study my PhD at the University of Strathclyde in Scotland, and wanted to follow themes and little motifs, little fragments of Scottish music from 18th century Scotland into the Carolinas, where my family came in 1774, and how that music lasted and influenced and became the foundation for bluegrass and country music. You heard a little country in the fiddle here. And even up through, as I said, James Taylor and people like that, Sarah McLachlan. And it was a lot of fun tracing all that music in there. And there are a lot of elements that you can hear, little small elements that are characteristic of Scottish music. The drone is one that we heard. A lot of it's dance music, as you can tell. And some people have a hard time with Scottish music, honestly, because they say it's so repetitive. It's just repetitive. A lot of that's dance music. It's meant to be repetitive. And a lot of it's built in very small segments. Okay, so A, B, A, C, little short phrases, and over again, so we can dance to that music. Okay? A lot of it comes from mouth music, which you just heard a little bit of. Okay? Strathspace, some of you know that. I know we're going to hear some here, so I lucked out with this. There's a thing called the Scotch snap. It's a very distinctive thing. Comes from the Gaelic languages in a lot of ways. It comes from even names like McTaggart. So you listen for these things, and they're very characteristic. Haggis, falcha, that accent on the first and then falling away. So these are the things you should listen to in music. And I know our next artist